Welcome to another video of King of the Hills, a very large single elimination tournament between factions, and only a few are remaining currently. Let's take a look at who we have this week. We have on the left the Belgian Smurfs. We have on the right the Socal Swablu. It doesn't probably really need explanation where these factions are from. One of them is from Belgium, the other one is from California. And there's some really good battlers and well-known names in these factions. Let's take a look at the battles we have this time. We have some from the Master League and we have some from the Ragnar field. The one that we haven't seen on this channel yet. The Master League matchup that we have here between Triptando and Famosity is a pretty cool one, actually. Like, both players took quite some different Pokemon, but both players also have some of the hardest meta here. We see Mewtwo from Famosity, which I really like currently, because last cycle, because of Mega Gengar being available, there was a lot of Hydreigon around, and that made it difficult to use Mewtwo. But now, that's not really the case anymore. Worst case scenario, you run into a Giratina or Dialga. Like, Yveltal and Hydreigon are just so uncommon. Now, unfortunately for Famosity, Triptando did bring that Dialga, which beats the Mewtwo, the Giratina, the Gyarados, and the Tapu Bulu. Well, Tapu Bulu is so-so. Obviously, it double resists Dragon Breath, but Iron Head hurts a lot, and your Moonblast don't really do enough there. And he also has the Mega Slowbro Triptando, which covers the weaknesses of the Dialga quite well. Now, if you do run a Confusion, the Excadrill becomes a little bit more iffy, but you still should have that on stat distribution. Let's take a look at how these players are going to do this, because we have Triptando here on the left, we have Famosity on the right, and we actually have both screens! Let's take a look at game number 1 here. We have Mega Slowbro into Buzzwole from Famosity, and by no surprise, safe swapping into that Mewtwo right away. Triptando answering with the Gyarados, which actually is somewhat of an answer, but also not really. If you want to keep the switch advantage here, you're always the one who needs to go down a shield first as Triptando. Also very bold. I would not have been surprised if Famosity may have had Thunderbolt on this Mewtwo, but maybe he tried to bait out... You probably don't want to, though. Maybe that's just stupid of me to say, because it's very likely Mewtwo could get answered by Dialga as well. But it is answered by Gyarados here, and Triptando has to go shield down to keep the switch advantage. You do win this in the 2 shields as Gyarados, because you have super effective crunch there. In comes Buzzwole for that big farm down, and this sucks. This sucks for Triptando, because you get counted down. And even though Mega Slowbro has a good matchup against this Buzzwole, Launch super effective, not only debuffs you, also does a really good chunk of damage. I would think still about 35% only, just because of Mega Slowbro's bulk, but you know, it's gonna be annoying. And Famosity really needs it because he's running a little bit ABA to the Mega Slowbro. It's also Confusion, so the Excadrill has a better time here, and Excadrill in the back does not look bad here. Famosity not throwing just right yet, and look at that CMP. That's so unfortunate for Triptando, because when he sees what's in the back, yeah, he even lets this go, probably expecting Giratina or something in the back. When he sees what there is, though, he's not gonna be happy. Surf comes through, we'll take out this Buzzwole and swapping in the Dialga into the 2 shielded Excadrill. I've really been starting to hate Excadrill. Like, it solely relies on its typing, making it somewhat of an RPS Pokemon. But let's be real, it's just a really good Pokemon, especially in a Dialga meta. That is GBL, of course, it's not always Dialga in Show 6. But man, it's just so devastating, because your Pokemon, like Dialga or Zekrom or Reshiram, they usually beat about everything. They just lose to this small thing, this small mole. It's also best buddy, by the way. I'm not sure what that picks up. Probably the mirror. Yeah, at this point, Slowbro just way too slow to get to 2 surfs here. In fact, not even getting to 1 surf before Famosity gets to 2 drones here. The Excadrill cleaning up very nicely here, baiting out the Gyarados that it still does so-so. Dragon Breath against Excadrill, but still wins that. So, right, that really worked out well. Getting the shield advantage, then sweeping with the drill on the back. So, good play from Famosity here. And yeah, I mean, Triptando probably could have expected this. Maybe you wanted to run Water Gun for a better Mewtwo matchup, but it's difficult. Take a look at game number 2 here. We have Dialga lead into Drill. Safe switching into that Landorus, which is sort of a safe switch, I guess. And you do win, was it the 1 shields? I don't remember very well. I think it's the 1 shields that you win here. Because this Earthquake will do a lot. Like a lot. And if Famosity counted, he knows this could be an Earthquake. And he does shoot. That's a really good shield. Otherwise, you can lose the switch advantage here. And I think at this point, do you even want to... Yeah, look at that. CMP on the Stone Edge. Triptano tried to be sneaky. Maybe if Famosity tried to CMP on the Earthquake, he could have snuck that Stone Edge through. But then Mewtwo comes out with 100 energy, which also is not optimal. Anyway, let's see. Triptando is one shield up, so that... Never mind, that shield is gone now. Never mind, he shields that Shadow Ball. He probably... Okay, going for the farm, not throwing right before next move. Makes sense. You want to get that Draco up on the extra drill, which does a lot of damage, even though being resisted. Yeah, you get the full farm down here. You can't really swap out as Famosity. Even though you have the fairy in the back, it's not great against a loaded Dialga. So you gotta stay in. Just keep alignment, basically. In comes the Draco. This won't KO. But it will... I don't think it will put it in red. I think like a low yellow. It puts it in red, actually. Okay, that's a lot of damage. And in the back is the Tapu Bulu. Perfect read from Famosity here. Very frustrating for Triptando. Triptando probably trying to bait out that Tapu Bulu with the landers, but unsuccessfully. Doesn't really even hard win that matchup. Does shield that Ice Beam correctly. Really good shield. Kind of have to make a decision where you shield, of course. And look at how much those confusions already do. Letting the first grass not go. I mean, you know that this Tapu Bulu will get to 2 of them, so it makes it difficult. And, do you shield this? This is difficult. Does shield it, hoping to get to another serve on the drill, but I'm not sure if you can. If you're one confusion off, you might be able to, because I don't think that 2 Muches will take it out. It doesn't, but you're 1 off. That's so close. Very unfortunate. Yeah, that's just what it is sometimes. If you had the bait, perhaps you would get there, right? If you bait the serve against the Tapu Bulu. Obviously, the slow roll is a really flex pick there with confusion, surf, and ice beam. Basically covers about anything on Famo's team. Yeah, it doesn't just sweep well enough against some of those Pokemon. Excadrill just proving to be a really good Dialga neutralizer there. Famosity is 2-0 up right now. Let's see if Triptando can take 1 point back. We have Dialga into Mewtwo, a great lead for Triptando. This is exactly where he needs it, especially if you probably expect that Excadrill somewhere. You kinda... Do you even need Switch here? Perhaps not. Perhaps you don't need Switch as much. Shadow Ball comes through. Gonna let the Mewtwo go, perhaps. This Iron Head will barely knock out the Mewtwo. And it is shielded, actually. Ooh, and just barely... He's one of another Side Strike here. Do you shoot, says Tristando? He doesn't, actually. Interesting. Probably realizing I have two extra answers, so I don't really need Switch. If you have energy advantage on this. Shielding the Shadow Ball, this would do a lot of damage. And slower with energy is just... good on about everything. Look at that, getting another confusion in there. Barely surviving at 1 HP that Mewtwo. What do you bring in here as Famosity? You kind of have to bring in the Giratina here, right? Yeah, brings in the Giratina. This Ice Beam is gonna chunk. Although, I would think that Giratina barely goes into half. It's a non-same type attack bonus Ice Beam. Yeah, just barely into the half. But now you have your confusion that can chunk. You need to get rid of this Giratina, though. It's quite good against the Landorus as well. Yeah, I like this. If you get the shields down, you can one-shot that Excadrill later as well, which basically solves your Excadrill problem. Ooh, caught the bait. He caught the bait. That sucks. Yeah, I guess you realize it's gotta be the drill in the back. Look at how much that does. Now you can just get the clean farm down because 2 Rock Slides won't KO this Landorus. I'm not even sure if you get the 2 here. You might get just mud shot down. And then Famosity needs some really precise Giratina farm, but I don't think it's possible anymore at this point. Doesn't even get to another Rock Slide, so you can't even farm this down. And in comes the first Rock Slide. Sorry, Stone Edge. It's the other form that has the... if you saw Wagon's games before, he actually had the other Landers. And yeah, this game. It's CMP on that Shadow Ball versus Stone Edge, and that wins the battle for Triptando. So he loses 1-2, famously wins 2-1. Very well played from both players. Alignment definitely came in much here. But what you saw here was that famously didn't really bring the Giratina. That's also very strong. He went with his flex pick and just covering that Dialga really well, right? Never really brought that Gyarados or the Giratina, only in the last game, and actually lost him as well. So yeah, maybe he regrets that. Either way, a 2-1 victory is still clean. Let's take a look at our next matchup. The meta that we see here, we have not seen on this channel yet. This is the Ragnar field meta, and we've only had this in King of the Hills, so not in World Factions. We have Lundberger, a European play Pokemon caster, even though she's American actually. And we have 2000 Red, who is in a fierce battle with Azure for who's the biggest anime fan in the Pokemon community. Now, one thing that 2000 Red told me, that in this meta, people tend to free up their tackle users because those are very oppressive in this meta. And it does look like Lundberger brought the 2 counter users in Deoxys, and Buzzwole also has a steel type in the Wormadam, so it's a little bit difficult to free that up, even though Wormadam and Deoxys are probably very manageable. Let's take a look at what these players are going to ban from each other. This is a Show 8 Ban 2 format. We see here that Red banned the Buzzwole and the Wormadam from Lundberger to make it more easy to run that Greedent and the Miltank. I know from experience that Greedent really is not bad against the Deoxys, especially on like an energy advantage. And it looks like Lundberger banned the Cresselia, generally an oppressive Pokemon, and would have threatened the Buzzwole, which now is banned, the Deoxys, the Quagsire, and even against the normal types, especially if you have Future Sight, it just is really good. So I do get that ban. And then the Escavalier that would also threaten the normal types and can hit basically anything for super effective. Now let's take a look at the battles here. Alright, so we have Lundberger on the left here. We have 2000 Red on the right. We have 2 sides of the battle this time. One of them, however, has continuous notifications of pointless things like raids. I don't know why. It's whatever. Let's take a look. We have the Quagsire into the Wormadam and a quick swap into the Greedent from Red here. And this is exactly what he was talking about. Those tackle users are so oppressive. You just bait out that one counter, which the Deoxys isn't really actually a counter. Because you'll see that like the tackles add up so much here, like at about as much as the counters. Then the body slam will KO after this, and you even win the charge attack priority because Lundberger throws a little bit late. You gotta shield that to keep all that energy. On the other hand, though, you can get to 2 charge attacks here, so it's not the worst per se, right? Because you will be able to get to a Psycho Boost after this, which is, honestly, wow. Okay, that's barely getting it off. Honestly, though, Psycho Boost is actually a really strong move. It's a really strong move. It's just that Deoxys attacks that doesn't back it up very well. Still solid damage for 35 energy move though. In comes the Miltank. Lundberger probably going to try and tackle it down before the Greedent gets to 2 body slams, but I think that will be very tight. I think it may have been more useful to swap in the Quagsire because she swapped kind of slow, but that does mean she already had some mud shots on that Quagsire, so you can take out the Greedent quite quickly here. But maybe also realizing that Wormadam is going to be tough. But man, this Greedent took out so much of the team. Wormadam comes in. It is a bug bite Wormadam. Makes sense. You don't need Confusion for anything at all. Bug bite not the strongest fast attack, but yeah. What do you need Confusion for, right? Stone Edge comes in. You need a Stone Edge and 2 Mud Bombs here. That's a lot of energy you need on Quagsire. If you had Earthquake, I don't know if Mud Bomb. Sometimes I wonder if Mud Bomb really is an upgrade. Sometimes I wonder. Mud Bomb is a pretty weak pretty weak charge attack. So it just doesn't hit very hard. You need more of these. On the other hand, though, an Earthquake is 65 energy, 2 Mud Bombs 70. You know, both take out, so you save 5 energy. Although I shouldn't say that. Sometimes those little bits of energy can be really crucial. Can you get to another Mud Bomb here? You might need that. And she barely does. This could be very useful. This is the second time Lundberger gets to a charge attack here, just at the very, very last moment. Now you need the Thunderbolt. I think you need 2 Thunderbolts. Wormadam's bulk is comparable to that of Licky Tongue, especially when XL. Like, this thing can go to level 49. I have a level 49 one. So, yeah. But you barely don't get there. Looks like 2000 red, not even bothering throwing a charge attack, just going for the full bug bite down. You lose 1 turn if you throw that, so you get 1 turn of less fast attack damage. So smart play. Every turn can count in those kind of matchups. Very close battle. Lundberger really tried against a tackle strategy. Kind of read it well too. But the greed is just really tough. Take a look at game number 2 here. So, yeah, the recording of Spleen Lejeune, the person who recorded Lundberger's side here, it started off really short, so I had to make it a little bit like this. But it's basically the same teams that we have here. We had the warmer down lead, and let's see how Lundberger is going to play it out. This time, she swapped much quicker into the Greedent this time, and doesn't get a defense drop, so that's nice. Not sure what that's going to change for you. Looks like 2000 red is letting that go. And do you shield this? Doesn't shield the body slam. I think Lundberger knows I don't want to go a shield down here, but now it's 2 shields versus 2 shields. All shields are even. I think her previous position in the previous game may have been more favorable here, just because you had that shield advantage. And now, I don't think Quagsire. I don't know exactly, but I don't think the Quagsire has a very good matchup against the Miltank, because the tackles are so oppressive. Thunderbolt comes through. We're gonna try to catch maybe, but it's likely that a bug buzz coming here. Yeah, it is. This is a very hard hitting move. If you know it's Miltank in the back, you gotta shield this, because this does the most damage by far. This is a very hard hitting attack. Does shield it. No defense drop, which is very fortunate. Hey, no, looking at this matchup, this is actually just stupid. Look at how close this gets, actually. Shield is put up. Although I have to say that obviously Lundberger is not in the favorable position here, because she's already 1 shield down. Do you shield the next one here too? She does shield the next one to get the next Thunderbolt off. And now there is that defense drop, which is unfortunate. Going for a Thunderbolt here. I don't think, yeah, Red just lets it go. Go to sweep with that Miltank. This Miltank likely, oh my goodness, doesn't even KO. That thing is so bulky, man. It's just crazy. Alright, let's see what the play is here for Lundberger. Tapping right above the mob bomb. Is she going to bait? Did she learn from me? You always bait. Although it's sometimes lose you the battle. Alright, mob bomb coming through. It does get shielded by Red. I told you, always bait. Always bait. But I also don't think that Quagsire even gets to another mud bomb here. The Miltank is just so thick here. So oppressive. Yeah, going for the mud bomb. Quagsire does win the charge attack priority. And Quagsire already is a bulky Pokemon. So this gives you an idea of how bulky this Miltank even is. Yeah, that is a charge attack priority. Probably worst case scenario for Red. But I think you tackle down the opposing Miltank anyway. And man, that gets close. But Red is ahead in energy and gets the body slam off. So that's a 2-0 score right now for Red from Socal Swablu Gold. Very well played. Yeah, the double tackle is legit. It's legit. Is he gonna do it the 3rd time though? We see. Yep, we see the same. Now let's see how Lundberg will play this out. Going for a Mud Bomb first this time instead of swapping in that Deoxys. You can't afford to lose switch advantage though if you bring the Miltank into this, because your Deoxys does not have a good time against that Bug Bite Wormadam. The Bug Bites will be super effective the whole time. And 1 turn fast attacks are even better against Deoxys because of that low HP stat. I probably have mentioned that only a million times in my videos so far. And I love this from Lundberger, throwing that body slam right before the Greedent's body slam, because if you let that through, 2000 Red could possibly shield and farm down. This crunch is really only for the defense drop, because it actually does, I think, 1 or 2 less damage than the body slam. Body slam is just a really good move. You come out with a body slam here as Lundberger, you can even go, oh, actually coming in with that Miltank, interesting. I thought that Red was going to take the energy on the Wormadam because it's just as bulky, but he probably also, oh my goodness, gets 2 body slams here. That's huge for Lundberger. But he probably also expects the what's it called? The Deoxys in the back, right? So the Wormadam might have to clean up here. In comes that Deoxys goes for a body slam. I don't agree per se with this play because the Wormadam survives enough attacks that you can use the body slam later to like knock out this Quagsire, but it might not make that much of a difference simply because you know, Wormadam is not gonna be healthy enough to deal with both of these Pokemon, even if you get the body slam off on this Quagsire. You already got quite some tackle damage in, so this Quagsire is already at half HP. If you can like bug bite this down, perhaps there is une petite chance. That's probably not the French word for chance, but c'est la vie. Anyway, Mud Bomb coming in. Finally a shield from Red there. This is only another Mud Bomb. What do you shoot at this point? This does do less than a Thunderbolt from the Deoxys, however. Yeah, at this point you just get counted down, I think. Let's see what Lundberg is going to do. Going to let that go. Probably just gonna try to farm everything down with the Deoxys. Which is not the easiest play because the Miltank is also still around, but you probably just counted this down. Are you able to? Do you get to the Iron Head? Does get to the Iron. This might be huge. This might be huge. If you now get there as the Miltank, but I think the Miltank is basically dry from Red. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of energy. Thunderbolt coming in. Your only win con here might be shooting the first Psycho Boost and tanking the second one. But it's a Thunderbolt because Lundberg has so much energy. Now gets to the Psycho Boost and that actually saves her a point. So, well done, Amanda. I know I just love teasing you, especially when you lose. But it was a tough matchup. We're friends. It's fine. Don't worry. We're friends. Yeah, good matchup though. Now let's take a look at how this bout went for these teams in total. Last time in King of the Hills, we saw Stadium Elite get a massive victory over Rock, Paper, Slug. Now let's take a look what the end score was between Socal Swablu, Gold, and the Belgian Smurfs. Ouch, that's very similar. I think that's the same score. About the same score that Stadium Elite Silver achieved against Rock, Paper, Slug. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. How it's basically a little bit of a slaughter fest at times, right? You get so far, and you don't really expect that at one point it can just go wrong like that. But regardless, though, I think Belgian Smurfs should be really proud of where they got. It's a long single elimination stage between some very good factions, some of the best that unfortunately for some reason didn't make it into Worlds. Yeah, obviously well done by Socal Swablu advancing to the next week. Maybe we'll see more later from King of the Hills and perhaps from them as well. Hope you liked the video and see you in the next one. Bye.